Welcome in to yet another Dynasty Fantasy Football video. This time, I'm giving you my top 5 Dynasty sells for 2024. Let's say you're out of the playoffs, and if you're in my preferred Dynasty format, you'd have no trade deadline. That way, you can take advantage of assets that will help contenders, but won't help you in 2024. Let's jump into player number 1, Davante Adams. It's important to note that Adams is in decline. He's 31 years old now. He's averaging just 69.1 receiving yards per game. It's his lowest mark since 2017. But he's still commanding high-end volume with 6 catches and 10 targets per game. He's likely to be either on a new team next year or stuck with a rookie or a meh quarterback in Las Vegas because it's hard. The cap charge to trade him is pretty high. Either way, the track record of older wide receivers changing teams or even changing quarterbacks is pretty abysmal. I think this is the last chance to get real value for Adams if you're already out of the playoffs. He's still a good play over the next couple of weeks, so someone might want to trade for him. I'd take any first, even a 2025 first. It's now or never to move on from Davante Adams. He's never going to be worth even this much again. The value's only going to go down. Maybe you could pivot to something like an injured Tank Dell. Maybe you might have to add a little to Adams to do that. Or you can look at someone like Jaden Reed, another young wide receiver. You probably could get something with Jaden Reed, maybe a second with Reed for Adams. I think you just take what you can get because it's not going to get better if you wait longer. So that's just my take on Davante Adams. Next one, Travis Etienne. It's important to note that he's been incredibly inefficient, like bordering on bad. I mean, we're talking about someone who had 5.1 yards per carry in 2022. It's fallen to 3.7 this year. But despite having similar carries to his total last year, he has 9 rushing touchdowns this year compared to just 5 on those touches last year. Unfortunately, though, he had 3 straight games of 2 rushing touchdowns. Since then, ice cold. 47.6 yards per game over the last 7 games. 3.4 catches and 30.7 receiving yards a game. That's giving him a floor. That's what's still making him playable. But over those 7 games, just 3 total touchdowns and 3.26 yards per carry. He's getting even worse recently. Losing playing time to Dearness Johnson. And believe me, the Jaguars are either going to give Tank Bigsby more work next year, or they're going to find a better version of Dearness Johnson because Dearness Johnson is not good. So if they think that Travis Etienne needs to lose some touches, they're going to find a way to find someone better than what they have. The real problem, though, is that the Jaguars have to decide on his 2025 fifth-year option after this year. Of course, since it's his 3rd year in the league, he's also eligible for an extension. Now, do we think that Travis Etienne is worth $14 million a year? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, absolutely not. He's not worth it. You could replace it with 2 guys, paid $2 to $3 million a year, you get the same production. He is not worth it. It's not like Jonathan Taylor. He's not on that level. So this is going to be a problem. We're going to be playing hardball here. He's the same age as Taylor. He turns 25 in January, so we're past the time of him being like young for a running back. DLF value says that Travis Etienne is RB5 and 14th overall. There were in 1 QB leagues. There were times where he was a first-round starter pick. That is lunacy. It has always been lunacy. He is not in that elite talent level. So I've seen quite a few deals. Speaking of Jonathan Taylor, for Etienne straight up. Taylor has the contract. He's actually elite. He has put together an elite fantasy season that Travis Etienne has not. Jonathan Taylor is by far better. I would rather have him. So if you do that, but there's many ways to sell Etienne. I would look to move on while you still can. Now, this third one, pretty simple. It's Travis Kelce. I love him. He's had a great career, but we're way closer to the end of it than the beginning. This week, for the first time, I knocked him off my tight end 1 spot in my start-sit rankings. Not tight end 1 for me this week. The problem is his recent production and his touchdown numbers. Still averaging 6.5 receptions a game, same as 2022. But he's fallen to 71.1 yards from 78.7. Big problem, though, just 5 touchdowns in 13 games versus 12 and 17 last year. He's 34 now. The Chiefs have not had any receiving weapons for most of 2022 and 2023 since Tyreek Hill left. But now they have Rashee Rice. Over the last 4 weeks, the Chiefs have made Rice an every down player, and he's dominated. In that time, Kelce has no touchdowns and just 5.3 catches and 70.8 yards a game. Imagine what it's going to look like when the Chiefs acquire 2 competent starting wide receivers alongside Rice. Kelce's DLF price of Dynasty tight end 3 is totally divorced from reality. I would much rather have Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid, Trey McBride, TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews for sure. They're all at least 6 years younger, in some cases 10 years younger, or even more. And there are recent trades of Travis Kelce for Kincaid or Travis Kelce for Drake London. These are not reality. This chance Travis Kelce retires. I would easily accept those and get rid of Travis Kelce while I still can. Next one, Austin Ekeler. You might say, why bother to sell Austin Ekeler? Because it's selling him low. I'm fine selling him low. 3.6 yards per carry. He looks slow, putrid, like he's running in mud. Last game, 5 carries for 9 yards. Awful. Absolutely awful. And the one thing that's giving him a floor over the years is his receiving work. We're down to just 3.6 catches and 33.9 receiving yards a game. That's fine, but that's not high-end running back one numbers. That's just okay. I mean, it was similar to Travis Etienne's numbers in the receiving game, and we don't think of him for that. We saw last year, Dalvin Cook went from a workhorse starter in 2022 to nothing at all in 2023. We're down that path for Austin Ekeler. We are on that path. He turns 29 this offseason. He's still RB15 in DLF December ADP. I'll take anything I can get. Any first is a smash accept. Good luck with that. A recent trade in the DLF Trade Finder says you can get Josh Downs. I'd take him. Another one, Aaron Jones plus a second plus another small piece. I think the second will be the most valuable thing in there in like 6 months' time. So any of those returns, I'm fine, even if it sounds bad. 2 seconds, I'm fine with that. I would like to sell low on Austin Ekeler. I think he's close to finished, personally. And honestly, if Austin Eckler's not willing to take $3 million a year, he's not going to have a job. So we'll have to see. But I'm not interested in him at all. Last one, Geno Smith. He's going to play this week, which gives him value in Superflex leagues. Matchup against the Titans is strong. Scary, though, that nothing looked different between Geno Smith and Drew Lock. It looked like they were the same caliber running that offense. Smith has fallen off from his 2022 breakout where he had 69.8% completion, 30 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. This year, all the way down to 64.4%, 15 touchdowns to just 9 interceptions. He has an extra great weapon in JSN, a reliable RB2 in Zach Charbonnet. You would have thought it would have gotten better. It has not. The Seahawks can escape this contract and save $14 million this offseason. I don't think they do that. I think they retain Smith, but they're going to bring in someone other than Drew Lock to provide a real competition. They could easily draft a quarterback in the mid-first round as a, JJ McCarthy, Jaden Daniels if he slips, that kind of guy. Or they could sign a reclamation project or trade like Mac Jones to provide some more real competition for Geno Smith. Either way, Smith is low-key older at 33, and he's not going to stop the Seahawks from making a big move at quarterback. So I'm fine moving on if I can get someone more locked in. If I can trade, healthy-ish Geno Smith for injured Kirk Cousins, I'd rather have Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins has 3 years of a solid career left. Geno Smith maybe has half a year. So if I could do that, I would absolutely do it. Any future first for Geno Smith, I'd do it as well. And, I'm also fine looking at other positions if I'm stacked at quarterback at Superflex. Now, if you like these sells, make sure to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you thought about these takes. Additionally, if you want to ask advanced questions for the video, you can do that at patreon.com/fantasyadvice. Sign up for my Patreon. The link is in the top right corner. And you can ask these advanced questions. I have 4 questions from the patrons today, and we're going to get some answers. So let's jump straight into that. If starting a new league, what would be the settings and format of Tyler's Dynasty League? How many flexes, snake or auction, fishbowl, generic scoring, all these other things. So I'm boring. I just like a regular super flex is important. I'm not playing any more 1 QB. I'm not joining 1 QB leagues. So super flex, tight end premium, I like. It's kind of fun for me. Defenses, I don't want. Taxi squad, take it or leave it. And then in terms of scoring, just something close to regular. I don't want like a crazy scoring. And then I'm still old school. I prefer snake over auction. I understand the appeal of auction, but it's just not for me. My Patreon is literally was built on helping people win their snake drafts. So it's not surprising that I have a bias towards snake drafts. So I'm snake draft still for me. 2 more questions. So is Zamir White the starting running back for the Raiders next year? What are your thoughts on him? I think he's okay, but he has no burst after his surgeries, multiple knee injuries. So I'm not a big fan. I think that the Raiders would be open to retaining Josh Jacobs, but Zamir White, if they let Josh Jacobs go and Zamir White looks like he's going to be the starter, I'd love to sell at that price because they could easily bring in someone who's better than Zamir White. It's kind of my take on him. I don't think he's going to be the next Josh Jacobs. I think he's just okay, just a guy. But he played well in his last start. Top streamer DSTs for the week. There's not that many of those, but the Jets play Washington. I don't know if they're out there. The Broncos against the Patriots, the Colts at Falcons. Those are a couple options that might be available in your league. The Bears at playing Arizona if you're really desperate. Those are my top streamers. The rest of the ones are rostered in most leagues. Cleveland versus Houston is my number one defense. Houston playing Case Keenum this week. So I'd love to play Cleveland's defense. I appreciate everyone for watching the video. Thanks for all your comments and all your views on the Dynasty Stash videos. So hopefully 3 straight of over 1,000 views. And just make sure to check out all the content. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because that's the most important thing to help me out. But until next time, I will see you all later. Peace out.